Hello and welcome to Angry Andy Reviews, and this is my review for The Last of Us Episode 5. Now, those of you with an eagle eye who have been paying attention will notice I did not have an episode review for Episode 4. This is because I was extremely busy all last week and, quite frankly, did not get time to get to record it and before this new episode came out, because obviously this episode aired a few days earlier due to the Super Bowl. So, yeah, I got caught out. So apologies. So what I'll do, I will briefly summarize my thoughts on episode 4 and then go straight into episode 5. So, episode 4, we were treated to Joel and Ellie entering Kansas City. Once they're there, they find, Christ, what's it called? Oh, I was going to call it demilitarized zone, but it's not. I can't remember what they call it. So, the place where nobody's infected, a safe haven, we'll call it. They find that, and they notice that it is actually open. It's not secure, and there is, Joel immediately senses something is wrong, and they notice there is some geezer out in the middle of the street trying to flag them down. Joel immediately recognizes this as being a trap and attempts to flee. It all goes wrong. The car gets destroyed. The lovely car they got from Bill gets completely destroyed, and they are attacked. They're surrounded, and Joel ultimately kills every single one of them, apart from one who nearly kills him, and Ellie saves his life using the gun that she'd hidden from him. And we see in this episode just how far Joel and Ellie are willing to go. Ellie is a bit shocked by what she's done, and Joel finishes off this lad who is begging for his life. So yeah, we get a true sense of what Joel is willing to do in order to survive in this world, and the no holds barred kind of attitude that he has. Alongside in this episode, we do get treated to some terrific scenes, some more character building between Joel and Ellie. Their relationship is coming into bloom in this. Ellie discovers a joke book that she uses and says all these terrible jokes to Joel, and there's a bit of back and forth there, and we do get some really good heartfelt moments in this episode. We're introduced to the leader of this group that's overthrown Fedra. She is, a hard-nosed person. She executes collaborators left, right, and centre, and she's looking for somebody called Henry. And again, we're introduced to Henry. At the very end, Joel and Ellie find some cover that they want to, put their head down for the night, and Henry and Sam from the game, the two brothers, appear and sort of hold them, hold guns to them. And that's where the episode ends. Now, that was a very quick, rough shot sort of overview of it. It is a really good episode. Again, I don't think it was too as great as the previous episode we had. Probably a little bit of a dip, purely because it slows down a little bit. We do get that ultra-violent moment. We do get those, those shocking tactics. Overall, it's much more of a character-building episode, a drama-building episode. I wasn't really too convinced about sort of like this other group we get introduced to. With the leader of this group that's overthrown Fedra. They're completely new. I'm not really sure I really want to learn too much about them. However, we come to episode 5, and holy fucking shit. So yeah, Joel, Ellie, Sam, and Henry, they confront each other. They make a bargain to escape Kansas City, and Henry agrees to show them out of the city using the tunnels underground. So they go underground, and it all looks like it's going ahead quite nicely. Again, there's plenty of back and forth, some wonderful character building. Once again, showing sort of like the innocence of both Sam and Ellie. In their interactions, the way they play with each other, they kick a football around. They talk about comic books, which again, I think, if I remember rightly, was lifted straight out of the game itself. And obviously, there's this sort of a weird sense of optimistic caution between Henry and Joel. They don't trust each other at the beginning, but as we go along in this episode, there is that almost sense of like, well, there's somebody else here who has the same goals. They want to survive. They want to get out of here. They want to go somewhere where they can live in peace. And we get that sort of building of a relationship right the way through. Obviously, unfortunately for them, this other group, led by this lady who is intent on finding Henry, she's intent on finding all these collaborators, we're never really sort of told in the full fundamentals of how this group overthrew Fedra. We do see them at the start of the episode, hanging people and killing people left, right, and centre. It's quite gruesome. And obviously, we're told that Henry was responsible in some way for this lady's brother, ultimately, being imprisoned, tortured, and killed by Fredra. So they do hunt them down. It's miraculous how they're able to get to where they are. Quite quickly. There's an old man in a house randomly. Some scout set up in a house who opens fire on the four of them and basically alerts this lady and her entire army. She's got a massive army of people, where they are, and it all goes to shit. They're cornered. They've got nowhere to go. They manage to destroy a truck, and as the truck's coming in, it's catching fire. It crashes into a building, and lo and behold, a sinkhole opens up. Everyone's a bit sort of, concerned, a bit worried about what it is. There's almost like a weird vein of recognition from Joel as to what's happening. He picks up he's got this sniper rifle, and all of a sudden, hundreds of infected clickers come out and attack the entirety of this army. I can't remember the character's name of the lady who's in charge. And this is just it. There's a bit of sort of like, trying to get us, invested in this character, and ultimately it comes to nothing really. There was almost no need for us to spend as much time as we did with her. We don't spend too much time. There was almost no point spending as much time as we did with her, her second in command, as he is, Beardy McGee, I'll call him. And ultimately, everyone gets completely massacred by the infected. A bloater comes out of the ground. It's spectacular. It looks superb. Even more superb learning after the fact that was somebody in a suit. It wasn't necessarily all CGI, which is fantastic. Using costumes and real props and effects is fantastic. It's really lending a realistic feel to the show, realistic grounded feel to the show. Yes, there's elements of science fiction, there's elements of ridiculousness. We're going to get that in a zombie show. It is the way it is. But this bloater comes after Beardy McGee and just fucking rips his head off. And it's superb, absolutely superb. There is nothing anyone can do to stop the amount of infected. It's all going crazy. Ellie managed to escape and hide in the truck, but a little girl, a creature infected, comes after her, and it's horrifying. The missus was hiding behind a cushion, and she manages to get out. She notices that Sam and Henry are being attacked, so Joel helps them, sniping them from the house where this scout was hiding. There's a lot going on in this episode. It's chaotic. There's a massacre. There's an absolute massacre on screen, and there is a lot going on. But it highlights, I think there's been a lot of complaints. People say, "Oh, there's no fucking infected in the infected show." Well, you have to acknowledge the human characters as well. The infected are almost a secondary villain, because the real villain is humanity. Humanity falls apart. It degrades into this, this horrible sludge of civilization that we've got, and we see that at the opening of this episode. The infected is the byproduct, if you like, of humanity's hubris and greed and everything else you could possibly think of. They're almost like the punishing aspect. So this woman, is determined to execute Henry, and she pays for this by being attacked by the little girl infected creature who just rips her throat off, I think, or her face or something like that. We don't quite know. Ellie and Sam and Henry run away, and at this point, we do feel that there's a happy ending coming. They're going off together. They're going to go on this journey together. And there is the devastating reveal that young Sam has been bitten by one of the infected during this attack. And Ellie suggests to him rather innocently, "Oh, my blood can heal you." She cuts her hand and puts a bit of blood on his leg. And in the morning, she approaches Sam. Excuse my hand. The camera's being a bit weird. Approaches Sam, and he has turned, and he attacks her. They fall into the main room where Joel and Henry are residing. They've just woken up themselves, and Henry is put in a difficult position. Joel attempts to grab a gun very quickly, and Henry sort of picks a gun, points at him, shoots at him, shoots at the floor in front of Joel, and Joel's sort of flabbergasted. He doesn't really know what to do. He doesn't know how to, rectify this, and Henry instinctively turns the gun and shoots Sam clean in the head, killing him instantly. And here we have, probably the most devastating moment of the entire episode, probably the most devastating moment of the series so far, is that the horrible realization of what Henry has just done. And again, almost directly lifted from the game itself. Henry is inconsolable. Joel tries to, reassure him, tries to talk to him, and Henry ultimately kills himself. He shoots himself in the head. And for me, I think it's the reaction following that really nails the episode as a devastating episode, showing how unforgiving this world is, how unforgiving other people are to each other, and even when they try and be good and nice, they're ultimately undone by the smallest thing. Ellie is obviously distraught. She helps Joel bury both of them, and she leaves this little notepad that Sam was using, because Sam is deaf in this episode, using to communicate, and she leaves a little note and puts on top, says, "I'm sorry," and that's it. So I think this is an episode where Ellie really, I think, truly understands the weight of everything, the weight of responsibility with her, the weight of, responsibility of your actions, and it's devastating. It's devastating for both of them. I think Joel, possibly here, honestly thought he found somebody who he could share a journey with beyond Ellie. He lingers at the spot where they've buried the two of them, and you can tell there's obvious regret within him as to what's happened, and it's surprising. We've seen Joel as being this hard-nosed character. He doesn't really care. He only cared for Tess. Doesn't really care about anybody else at this point. He even struggled with Bill, and even the relationship there was strained and almost businesslike. Even though eventually we do kind of figure out that they were friends to some degree. So it's devastating. It's devastating for all parties. And they move off. They leave the area. Obviously, Kansas probably fucking overthrown with infected now. There's no army because that army's gone. But there we go. And that is pretty much the end of the episode. I've blitzed through some of the smaller moments, and there are a lot of small moments here. There are a lot of small elements of quality dialogue yet again. Quality, pitch perfect, dialogue between everyone. Pitch perfect writing. The cinematography is superb. The effects are superb. The chaos that we see towards the end of the episode is immense and superbly well crafted and choreographed. No expense spared, it appears. And it's getting difficult. For episode 4, I would settle on a solid 8 out of 10. For this episode, I mean, I keep putting in these high reviews, and the show just seems to keep getting better and better and better. So I'm becoming someone who's just just constantly giving 9s and 10s. And I think for this episode, purely based on the emotional weight of this episode compared to the last episode, and judging it based on the episode with Bill and Frank, I think this is yet another standout episode, another 10 out of 10 for me. Emotionally weighty, emotionally impactful, emotionally draining as well. Come the end of the episode, you're like, fucking hell, just give people a break. Even though, I know what happens in the story, even though I know what happens in the game, and, the wider sort of lore and everything like that that's been established. It's fucking hell, just give people a break, give people a chance. And I think that's what's superb about this show, is that it's really just saying, look, everything's fucked, but this is how you deal with it in the harshest way possible. So I am I'm going to settle on a 10 out of 10 again, because I have to, because I'm fully enjoying the show. I'm fully invested with everything that we're seeing so far. I was a little bit, well, I don't really care about, these new characters that have been introduced that we've never seen before. Well, fuck it, they're dead now, so it doesn't really matter. They've been fucking decimated. So, I can forgive, them trying to say, oh, pay attention to this leader, what she's trying to do, pay attention to Beardy McGee and what he's trying to say to convince her otherwise. Well, they paid the price for, their vendetta against all these collaborators, and now they're gone. So yeah, there you go. I don't need to worry about them anymore, because they're probably roaming Kansas, as it is. As infected, apart from Beardy McGee, he's got no head, bless him. But yeah, there we go. Another fantastic episode. I can't wait. I can't wait for the next couple of episodes, and it's going to be a shame when this first season ends. So there we go. I'm going to leave that review there. Thank you very much for watching. If you do like this video, please do like it. Subscribe to the channel for more reviews like this. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.